Is now the second longest in U.S. history. The Senate is convening today to try to bring the 22-day shutdown to an end. As it stands now, funding for SNAP food assistance may run out if the shutdown continues. More than 42 million low-income Americans use those benefits. And during his general audience today, Pope Leo focused again on the resurrection, this time in light of its response to human sadness. He said, quote, "It is the risen one who radically changes our perspective, instilling the hope that fills the void of sadness." He said he bears witness to the defeat of death and affirms the victory of life despite the darkness of Calvary. History still has much goodness to hope for. For more news with a Catholic perspective, visit EWTNnews.com. Women of Grace with Johnnette Williams starts now.
This is Women of Grace Live, discussing issues important to your life and faith. Spiritual insight, practical wisdom. Join us as we transform the world one woman at a time. Women of Grace, for such a time as this. Now, here's your host, Johnnette Williams.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Women of Grace Live. I am Johnnette Williams, very happy to be with you today. You know we love spending this time with you Monday through Friday as we discuss issues of importance to your life and your faith. And Wednesdays are always very special days around here. It is the day that we discuss the wild and the wacky, the strange things that we see happening out there with our wacky woman of Wacky Wednesdays, Sue Brinkman. I am one of that number as well, and we have a conversation about some of the, as I say, oddities that we see that are afoot within our culture of the day. Unfortunately, in some cases within our Christian our communities as well, and we try to uncover and reveal the truth in the midst of the darkness, bring the light of Jesus Christ into that which is without his light, so that we are not misled, so that we are not led astray, so that we don't find ourselves in a pit that is only going to increase for us problems and trials and difficulties, both in our natural realities, but also in our spiritual as well. So that's what we do on Wacky Wednesday, and I'm always eager to hear from you here. And on Wacky Wednesday, of course, we love getting those phone calls. 833-288-EWTN. That is the toll-free number for you right here in North America. That's 833-288-3986. I invite you to pick up the phone and to give us a call. Know that we do want to hear from you today. Always eager to know what's going on in your life of faith and how it is, that the Lord really wants to work in you and through you for the sake of this day and this time. We're also available for you at EWTN Radio's YouTube channel and Facebook page. I invite you simply to use the chat feature there. Put in your question, your comment, your insight, your inspiration, your word of encouragement, and do know that we will get you collected. That's what I'm trying to say. We'll get your questions or comments collected, and we'll get them up on the board, and we will be able to discuss them. It's Pedro Quiles that's doing the collecting, Matthew Gabensky on the phones, Vanessa Sanchez there in the studio on the campus of EWTN, looking all lovely and running those controls to make this program happen. So we're always, always delighted to hear from you. We have yet one more opportunity for you, and that is to text us. Text the letters EWTN to 58177. That's EWTN to 58177. Use that opportunity to put in your question or your comment. Do tell us who you are, where you are, and how it is that you are listening to us, and know that message and data rates may apply. In all of those ways, we are here for you today to answer your questions. So again, that toll-free number, 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. Lots of things going on at Women of Grace. Always inviting you to get out there and to check our website. You're going to find our studies listed for you under the study information. You're going to find our events, our upcoming events, and where I'm going to be in the United States also available for you there. That's going to be under our events section, which you will also see. And this coming weekend, I'm so excited. I am going to be in Alvin, Alvin, Texas, outside of Houston there. We are going to be with the Catholic daughters and all that come to the event, fall deeper in love with Jesus Texas is the theme. It is being presented by the Catholic Daughters of America there in Alvin, Texas, and we look forward to having you and joining us. We're going to be speaking to young girls. We're going to be speaking to adult women. We're going to be speaking to couples. Speaking to the couples on Friday evening, speaking to the young girls on Saturday morning, speaking to the adult women on Saturday afternoon. So it's going to be a full weekend, but I just know that the Lord has abundant blessings in mind. So if you are out that way, I sure do want for you not to delay, but to join us there in Alvin, Texas. All of the information available for you at our website. We're going to have a couples dinner at 6:30 p.m. on Friday, October the 24th. That's when I'm going to be talking about this theme, deep calling to deep marriage, the royal road to heaven. Doesn't that sound exciting? I think it's going to be very exciting. I'm eager to unpack that with all of the good men and good women that come for this event on Friday, October the 24th. On Saturday, October the 25th, we're going to have Mass in the church at 8 o'clock a.m. We're going to have a women's breakfast at 9 a.m. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And we are going to be presenting to the teens, deep calling to deep, I think the teens are in the afternoon. The women, they switched this, I think. Anyway, to the women, I'm going to be talking deep, calling to deep when the Spirit and the bride say come. And to the teens, deep calling to deep when Jesus calls your name. So it's going to be, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be just a wonderful, wonderful time. Again, it starts Friday, October 24th with dinner at 6:30 p.m. and it ends Saturday, October 25th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So you still have some of that Saturday left for running chores and errands. And it's going to be at St. John the Baptist Catholic Church on 110 East South Street in Alvin, Texas. That's St. John the Baptist Catholic Church, 110 East South Street, Alvin, Texas. All of the information available for you there. Please do go out and take a look and do join us. Put it into your schedule if you're in that area. I would love to meet you. If you've heard the announcement here on radio, I'd love to know that too. Just let me know that. So as I say, all kinds of good things that are coming up in the near future. This one, of course, coming up very quickly. I'm also going to be the beginning of November. I'm going to be in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. I know where that is. It's outside of Pittsburgh. That's where I grew up. Third annual Praise Nation Gala. I am going to be the keynote speaker for this beautiful gala. I'm so looking forward to being with all of those people in the Berg. Looking forward to it. Celebrating divine intimacy is the theme. It is being hosted. The event's being hosted by Father Levi Hartle and Father Mike Ackerman. It's going to be an inspiring and uplifting evening. I will be the keynote speaker, but we're going to have appetizers. There's going to be cocktails, dinner. We're going to have a gift basket raffle, a silent auction. We're going to have a Pittsburgh cookie table. I got to tell you, I am so looking forward to that. When I heard that that was on the agenda, I just got even more excited than I already was, because I'll tell you, Pittsburghers know how to bake cookies. They know how to make all of those good pastries that come from their ethnic roots, and I can't wait to taste them. I am so looking forward to that. My goodness sakes. I'm going to save up calories just so I can chow down right there at the third annual Praise Nation Gala that is happening. Holy Spirit inspired praise music with Praise Nation is also going to be a very, very special part of that event. If you want more information, again, available for you at our website. You can even register right at our website if you would like it. It's all going to be held at St. Thomas More Church in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. It starts Sunday, November the 9th at 4 p.m. and it goes until 8 p.m. That's a lot of time to eat those good Pittsburgh cookies. Ooh, 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 it's going to be so good. I cannot wait. So I'm looking forward to seeing you Pittsburghers there, to meet up with you. And listen, if any of my fellow classmates, either from St. Robert Bellarmine Catholic School or St. Thomas District High School, are listening to me right now, I invite you to come. I'd love to see you. Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be fun? It'd be a gas. Anyway, all of that being said, also, Armor of God Catholic Radio Benefit Banquet is going to be held also in Texas, November 22nd. I'm going to be in the Republic of Texas quite a bit. Looking forward to that. Again, all of the info available for you on your website, on our website, womenofgrace.com. When we come back, the one, the only Sue Brinkman is going to be with us. So stay tuned and get your calls ready. 833 833-288-EWTN, toll free for you right here in North America. Coming right back. Stay with us.
The most original Catholic content is on EWTN Radio. Tonight on EWTN Live, George Weigel analyzes some of his favorite speeches, lectures, and commencements, and why their message remains important.
EWTN Live with me, Father Mitch Packwood, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on EWTN TV and radio.
Mother Angelica had a simple goal when she began EWTN: to reach the world with the gospel message. Today, EWTN offers an online learning series, its own YouTube channel, the daily Mass and devotionals, and audio and video on demand. We've never wavered from our mandate to proclaim the truth and majesty of the Catholic faith. Thank you for joining EWTN in this mission.
The National Catholic Register is a national Catholic treasure.
Monsignor Roger Landry on the National Catholic Register.
The one-stop shop for Catholics who really want to become stronger in faith. I don't know what I'd do without the Register. It gives us really solid Catholic news, and particularly it covers the Vatican better than anyone. And now that we have an American Pope, how much we need that service. There's no better place to go than the National Catholic Register. The news will help you to see the world differently in such a way that renewed, you'll be Christ's instrument to renew the world.
This is Catholic journalism with a mission to inform, inspire, and connect the faithful. Subscribe to the Register today at the discounted price of $32.50 for 1 year, receiving 26 issues by ordering online at ncregister.com/radio or call 800-421-3230 and mention code RADIO.
Well, welcome back, friends. You hear that music. It is the music of Wacky Wednesday here on Women of Grace Live. We've got the one and only Sue Brinkman with us. We're going to talk about some of the weird and wacky things. And I want to tell you, our phone lines are lighting up already. And that just puts a light in me. I get so excited about it. So we do invite you to give us a call, 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. We've got 3 lines open, but they're going to go fast. So do call us right away if you've got a question. And again, you can leave a question for us or a comment at EWTN Radio's YouTube channel or Facebook page. Please use the chat feature there and do that. Also, too, text us. Text the letters EWTN to 58177. That's EWTN to 58177. Wait for our response and then put in your question or comment. Tell us who you are, where you are, how you're listening, and know that message and data rates may apply if you choose that option. Well, good morning to you, Sue.
Oh, good morning. You sound so nice and chipper. I just love it. I just love it. That tells me everything's going to go nice and wacky.
Well, we do like Wacky Wednesday. It allows us to, it gives us the room to be just, the women we occasionally like to be.
Silly. It's silly women sometimes, yes.
You are in some kind of a very warm top, and I am in a warm top because it's chilly here in Birmingham, and I am attributing the cold weather to my chipper mood because, it's exhilarating. And I was out there this morning pounding the pavement, and I got to tell you, it's you come in and you're happy to be in, but it gets you going, doesn't it? That cold weather.
It really does. It really gets that blood pressure going, and it just feels so good on your face when you're walking down the street. I absolutely love it. I don't mind the cold weather at all. I really don't. If you dress right for it, you're going to be fine. If you're not dressed right, that's when you're freezing and shivering and it's uncomfortable. But if you dress right, winter is fun.
Yeah, it can be.
Yet, but it's getting there. It's getting there.
Well, we have short falls here in Birmingham. They don't last very long. And we've had a lovely fall. Excuse me. We've had, just the weather finally cooled down. It was like in the 80s and 90s up until like 2.5 weeks ago. Then it started to gradually come down, and we had a very nice little time there. But then it started to get cold. So today, though, it's going to be 73. I mean, that's perfect. I love that. But it was 46 this morning.
Great.
So, Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I love those cold mornings. Yeah.
I do too. I do too. It's thrilling. And that coming from a Florida girl, but that's okay. Well, listen, here we are. Phone lines are lighting up. You've got a topic for us. So let's spend a couple of minutes talking about the topic, and let's get out there to Paula and Jack and Karen and everybody else that's trying to call.
Well, I have to talk about St. Bartolo.
Oh,
I'm so happy about St. Bartolo. People don't realize that the United States of America has the largest concentration of satanic sects in the world.
You're kidding me.
Is right here in the United States of America. They're
that
everywhere.
is so distressing.
It's very much the Church of Satan, the Temple of Set, the Order of the Black Ram, the Werewolf Order. They're everywhere, and they're all over the internet. Satanism is huge, and it's really. I just was praising God. Just last night I was thinking about this. I was thinking about the show, and I thought I'm so happy to be able to talk about this because Jesus gave us this saint at the perfect time to try to counter, not only to counter this Satanism, but to show people who are involved in Satanism the way back, that you can come back. And Bartolo was very transparent about his experiences in that. And, he was raised at a time when really a lot of things are going on back then that are going on back now, such as indoctrination in college. Because that's what happened to him.
Right.
He was in college during the time of the revolutionary Giuseppe Garibaldi, and Garibaldi led that uprising against the Papal States. He hated the church. And when Bartolo got into college, all of his professors were all, Garibaldi followers, and they instilled in him this great hatred of the church. And that's what really led him to start going to occult practices, to go to seances, and all. Spiritualism was also very big around that time. And he got really enamored by the dark powers. And he started getting involved in it, and he ended up seeking ordination as a satanic priest. Now, when you seek ordination as a satanic priest, part of that preparation process is intense study and then fasting. And he fasted so rigorously before he became a priest of Satan that he was reduced to skin and bones. And at the end of that period, he promised his soul to the devil, and he was consecrated a satanic priest. I don't think a lot of people understand exactly how bad this was. And yet Jesus came right along there. In his role as a priest of Satan, Bartolo worshiped Satan as a deity. He rejected God as a tyrant, and his priestly duties put him in direct communication with the devil. That he would invoke Satan, other entities. They're known as the four princes of hell. He would adorn himself in black robes, preside over rituals that involve magic and fortune telling and very dark pagan practices. Black masses. They're a mockery of the Catholic Mass. Prayers that invoke Satan rather than God. Our Father who art in hell is how they pray that. An inverted cross would be on the altar. The altar was usually the body of a nude woman. Invectives were hurled against Jesus, and the Blessed Sacrament was profaned. This is where Bartolo Longo was. And, rather than finding freedom and power through these practices, it really only lasted about a year for him that he was like on top of his game. And then all of a sudden, he started to feel very oppressed. Yes. He started having nightmares, paranoia, depression, eventually had a mental breakdown, and it led him to the brink of suicide. And at some point during this, he felt that he was hearing the voice of his late father, who was speaking to him and telling him, go back to God. What he was undergoing then was typical of Satan and satanic practices. He always promises you the world, and then he eventually will turn on you. This is exactly what he does, because all he's capable of is hate. He doesn't like you. You're not his friend because you're doing his bidding. He hates you, whether you're doing his bidding or not. So anyway, his family kept up that prayer, and they did put him in touch with the priest. Well, first with Professor Vincenzo Beppi at the college.
Right. And
this guy just came right out and asked him. He said, "Look, Bartolo, do you want to die in an insane asylum and be damned forever? Is this really what you want?" And of course, it wasn't. And it eventually led him back. But he also went through a period where he did come back to the church, but he couldn't forgive himself. Mm-hmm. And he was at this point, he had promised celibacy to the Lord. He was a very, very devoted to Our Lady and the Rosary. And he was plagued by this form of condition that he was in. And he thought that despite his repentance, he said he thought, I am still consecrated to Satan, and I'm still his slave, and I'm still his property, and he's waiting for me in hell. These are the thoughts that will come back to him. And I thought, it's so good that he wrote this down for us, because how many others are out there that are struggling to come out of this, and they're getting thoughts like this too, that are being inspired by Satan.
That's right.
Who's just trying to drive him to despair and say, Jesus cannot help you. He's not going to be able to help you. And then he came across those famous words of the Blessed Virgin Mary, where she said, one who propagates my rosary shall be saved. And he thought, he took her at his word. And he said he fell to his knees and he claimed, if your words are true, that he who propagates your rosary will be saved, I shall reach salvation, because I shall not leave this earth without propagating your rosary. Isn't that a beautiful story? And he devoted his life to that. This man was nominated twice for a Nobel Peace Prize for all of his humanitarian work that he was doing. What a turnaround. I just think he's the perfect saint for our times. Saint Bartolo Longo, please pray for us, and please pray for all those who are stuck in the depth of that darkness, who can't find their way out.
Yes.
And show them the way.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, when we talk about becoming a satanic priest, this is about as far as you can go, right? But it's all of the things that litter that path, because he was involved, as you said, with Spiritism, which was a very big movement at that time. It was very, very big in the late 1800s, like that, and he was involved in all of that. So, as you and I often talk about on this program, Sue, these practices are door openers. It starts off with something that you think is innocent, something that you think is fun, or something that you think is healthy. For example, yoga. These are all door openers. Are you going to go the distance like Bartolo went the distance? No. But is it going to affect you? Absolutely. And is the outcome going to be the same? Yes, because he always pulls the rug out from underneath your feet. He is so proud, so arrogant. He wants you to see who's in charge. And you think you've got the world by the tail. You think you're mastering all of these dark arts. Well, I want to tell you what. He's going to show you you don't know anything. And he's going to show you by causing you interior misery, a whole lot of mess that's going to go on in your life. And the thing that oftentimes, Sue, I feel so badly about is that people don't connect the dots and they don't see what the cause of it is. They don't realize it. So they just keep getting darker and darker into more dark things, thinking that that's going to resolve the issue. And it doesn't. It just keeps entrapping you. So if you're listening today and you're involved in any of it, get out of it. Get out of it fast and rush to the sacrament of reconciliation. Make a good confession. Reject, renounce, and repent. Those are the three ways in which you absolutely begin that serious process of exonerating that which has had some kind of control over you. And the priest can lead you through that. But it's absolutely essential. And you're so right also, too, with his love for our Blessed Mother. Our Blessed Mother smites the head of the serpent. And the rosary is such a powerful weapon. And he found that out, and he realized it, and he knew it. It's interesting because, Sue, I'm working on some studies right now. And one of those studies is a study on inner healing. And I actually chose him prior to his canonization for the saint for that study. And I said, I've got to go back because I've got him as Blessed Bartolo, and he's a saint, so I've got to go back and make that correction in the study. But a fascinating one, and I totally concur with you. He is a saint for this moment in time. He is a saint for us here in the United States. He's a saint for anybody that's involved and wants to get out. 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986 is the way that you can join us. It's a toll-free number for you here in North America. Also available for you out there at EWTN Radio's YouTube channel and Facebook page. Use the chat feature and put in your information. We want to know who you are, where you are. If you're not listening via social media, tell us how you are listening. We'll get that retrieved up on the board, and you can text us. Text the letters EWTN to 58177. That's EWTN to 58177. 877. Wait for our response. Put in your question or comment, and do know that data rates and message rates may apply. Let's get to the phone lines a little early, Sue, because they're stacking up here, and I think we've got some really good ones. Let's go to Paula. She is a first-time caller in Louisiana. Catholic Community Radio is the way you're with us, Paula. Good people there. Know 'em all. Going to ring my bell for you. So happy to have you. How are you, Paula?
Hi, good morning. I'm well.
Good,
Thank
good.
you.
So what is your question, sweetie?
So I have a question about, I have a daughter who's 12 who has something going on with her stomach. And really has not been diagnosed, but she cannot hold food. And it's been going on for about a month now. A very similar event we had last year as well. And my husband asked me is a question I never considered what is the church's teaching on hypnotists, like being hypnotized for medical conditions?
Okay, it's a good question, and it's very good and prudent of you to be asking that, especially because your daughter perhaps could be helped by it. But hypnosis is not condemned by the church. Only stage hypnosis, which can be very, very dangerous. It is recommended that medical that it be used in a medical sense, and that if you do take your daughter to hypnosis, it should be to a licensed hypnotherapist, not a certified. So the big difference between the two: the licensed hypnotherapist has a medical, psychological, dental, or other professional healthcare training. The certified hypnotist lacks this kind of educational background, and that can be very, very dangerous. Also, what the church does condemn, of course, is stage hypnosis, and that's because there's a lot of dangers that come along with hypnosis. There's things that can go wrong. Even in a medical sense, there's things that can go wrong. And I think one of the best examples of it is a story of what happened up in Quebec years ago now. A hypnotist in training hypnotized a group of 12 to 13-year-old students just for fun in the school. They let them come in and do this. And 5 students remained in that hypnotic state. She couldn't, and then the hypnotist couldn't wake her up, couldn't wake them up, and ended up having to call her mentor, who had to drive 2 hours to come to the school to get the girls to wake up. It's not something that you fool around with. You should really be doing it under, somebody's care who does have proper credentials for it. It also can cause issues. There can be other problems with it, and that's why stage hypnosis can be really very irresponsible and reckless. So try to make sure that who you're going to is a licensed hypnotist, not a certified hypnotist. I myself did go to one years ago. I was trying to quit smoking, but I went 3 times and never once was he able to hypnotize me. I couldn't go over. I don't know why. It never worked. It never worked. And then he didn't give me my money back either, which I was very sad about. But anyway, yeah. But yes, the church does not condemn hypnosis. They leave that open for medical uses, and they just don't want it used for show because of what it does to for party and stage stuff. They don't want it used for that.
So, Paula, obviously you've doctored with your daughter, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
And they just can't. Let me ask you this: are there any other symptoms that are attending to this?
Well, they are. I believe there's a psychosomatic component to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big part of it, like anxiety. And so we are working with a psychologist and trying to do some biofeedback, which I'm waiting on a device. So we are trying that route. Yeah. So I do think that is a big part of it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of issues that are related to the gastrointestinal area of our body that are very difficult to diagnose. That's why I asked, because I don't think you would want to jump to hypnosis without really checking it out through the medical field. But I interviewed a woman quite some time ago who has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but it's and it presents that way. And so, that came into my mind for some reason when you were describing the fact that she's had this problem and they can't diagnose it because it's hard to diagnose. That's why I asked if there were some other issues that were presenting, But what is her name? What is her first name?
Her name's Ashlyn.
Ashlyn. Okay. I'll remember her at Mass today and in my communion, and I'll pray for all of you as you continue to seek the help that you need, okay?
Thank y'all so much. Appreciate it.
You're so welcome. You're welcome. God bless you. 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986 is the way that you can join us live here on Women of Grace Live, where we love having that holy conversation with you. It's Wacky Wednesday. Sue Brinkman is with us. We've got a couple of lines open for you, so get on the stick and give us a call. We'll be right back.
The most original Catholic content is on EWTN Radio.
What have you always wanted to know about the Vatican? Well, I'm your Vatican insider, and I answer that question when I bring you the news about the Pope, Vatican City, and I share insights and stories from a broad spectrum of church ministries.
Vatican Insider with Joan Lewis, Saturday night, 9 Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Hi, I'm Doug Keck. This is an EWTN bookmark brief. Speaking with Father Michael Lang about his book, A Short History of the Roman Mass, which was published by Ignatius Press, and of course is available through our EWTN religious catalog, EWTNRC.com for all things Catholic. So tell me, Father Michael, why a short history of the Roman Mass? Why is it important for Catholics to understand this?
The liturgy of the Mass has developed and grown over the centuries. Mm-hmm. And I'm convinced that it is actually helpful to enter into the spirit of the liturgy, to understand its prayers, to know something about its history.
Okay, very good. The author is Father Michael Lang, the book, A Short History of the Roman Mass, and again, available through our catalog. I'm Doug Keck. This has been a Bookmark Brief. Thanks for stopping by. We shall see you next time. Thanks.
Renew devotion to your guardian angel with prayers and quotes to help you draw nearer to your heavenly helper with the free ebook, My Guardian Angel, My Constant Companion, available at EWTN.com/guardianangels.
Hi, this is Dr. David Anders. Do you have questions about the Catholic faith? Get the answers on Call to Communion, coming up this afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Women of Grace with Johnnette Williams.
Join in on the conversation. The Women of Grace phone lines are open. 1-833-288-EWTN, 1-833-288-3986.
Well, welcome back, everybody. You are listening to Women of Grace Live. I am Johnnette Williams. I am so very happy to hear from you today. Yeah, I was talking about a syndrome that a lot of people are unaware of, but it does attend to these gastro issues. That's one of the symptoms of it. But one of the other marking symptoms of it is hypermobility, the ability to really have like such a flexibility in the muscles that even sometimes, your shoulder will go out of the socket, or, your joints and your fingers will, be able to be manipulated in various kinds of ways. And it is something that presents in childhood, and it's very, very difficult to diagnose. So I did a program on it because the guest was someone who suffers with this, and it is an inherited kind of a thing. And you can go out and you can put it into the search engine at our website, womenofgrace.com. It's Ehlers, EHLERS-Danlos, DANLOS. And if you put that in, it should automatically come up for you there. EDS is the way the syndrome is often referred to. I wanted to give you that little bit of information there. All right, we have got a lot of people here, Sue, so let's go through them. And I do want to say this. Eileen texted us, and she said, I am so stunned to hear that Satanism is so prevalent in our society. I will pray to Saint, and I've always pronounced his name Bartolo, and you mentioned Bartolo. No, I pronounce it Bartolo. You said Bartolo.
Bartolo.
Jack says Bartolo. I was talking to a bishop yesterday. He said Bartolo. So I think that this jury's out on how you say that name. But we're going to call him Bartolo for the sake of our program today. And she's going to pray to him for this awful problem, and it sure is an awful problem. Let's go to Jackie's in Pensacola, Florida today, listening to us via Guadalupe Radio Network. So, Jack, how are you?
Hello?
Hi, you're on the air.
Good morning. Two questions.
Sure.
What is Dianetics?
Mm-hmm.
And the other is, ever hear of something called Ecantor? I saw it on a commercial. Some kind of blend of Far Eastern beliefs, soul travel, reincarnation, dreams.
Yep.
Okay, Sue's going to answer you.
I've heard of it. Yep, for sure. Well, Dianetics is actually the foundation for Scientology.
Right.
It's a self-help program, right? They believe that people are immortal beings called thetans, and they've forgotten their true nature, and then it offers you this method of spiritual rehabilitation that's known as auditing, which attempts to free people of the scarring effects of painful and traumatic events in their lives. And Scientologists don't use any kind of medicine. They believe that most physical problems are manifestations of spiritual ailments. Now, as far as Ekankar, it's spelled Eckankar, Ekankar. The guy who founded that was Paul Twitchell, and he was dabbling around in Dianetics. So they both come together. When he kind of started to come up with this, he eventually joined some other areas, and he began to lump everything together. But the core teachings of Ekankar, they're derivatives of all of his dabbling around, such as how he believes that the soul can be experienced separately from the body, that it can travel freely through other planes of reality, in a practice that he refers to as soul travel. He also taught that personal spiritual experiences, which are attained during this travel, are the most natural way to God, and that spiritual growth is had through Sufi practices of chanting a mantra known as Hu, which is said to be a love song to God. So it's a bunch of all this stuff. It espouses karma, reincarnation. He really espoused the teaching of that dreams are teaching tools. You should learn from your dreams and that. So Ekankar is kind of a mishmash of stuff, but we do have a blog up on that about it, and there is some pretty outspoken people who were hurt by this. And you'll read about them in there that their experiences were just awful, that they had terrible dreams from it. And in one case, it was a very beautiful case. Jesus actually helped her in a dream, and she started to return to the Lord after being involved in Ekankar. So it's very dangerous what people are dabbling around with out there. And it's just funny you should ask about Scientology and Ekankar, because really the Dianetics was kind of like the foundation for this Ekankar thing that started. But they're great questions. Thank you for asking them.
Yeah, and just, a word, just stay away from all of it. And there you are in Pensacola, Florida. You're in the Panhandle area, but we know that the international base for Scientology is right in our home state there of Florida, down there in Pinellas County, in the city of Clearwater. So I'm not surprised, Jack, that you would have come across this or heard about this in some way, given the location of their international headquarters. But it is absolutely not compatible with the revealed truth of sacred scripture or the teachings of the church. So it's something that you want to stay away from. Don't start messing around with that stuff because it can be very bad. If you know anybody that is involved with it, just start praying for them. Start praying the rosary for them and wait for opportunities to share the good news that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life, and not these things. And especially on a day like today, so where we are celebrating the feast of St. John Paul II. I mean, today is his feast day. So we ask St. John Paul II for all of your intercession for what we face in our society today. He was such a champion for truth and remains a champion for truth, and his intercession, along with Saint now Bartolo Longo, we certainly do want to invoke. So congratulations to you, St. John Paul II. What a wonderful day here. I also want to give congratulations very quickly to another EWTN radio partner. I'm so excited about this. Trinity Catholic Radio, serving Carroll, Iowa, is celebrating celebrating 20 years with us this week. So I am just absolutely delighted to congratulate you, Dave Prenger and Kelly Foley and their great team at KYMJ. From all of us here at EWTN, 20 years, that's a beautiful length of time. Thank you for being such a great evangelizer of Jesus, our Lord and our Savior. So are you ready for another call there, Sue?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's get on out there. Jack, thank you for your call. We want to go to Mary Ann, first-time caller in North Carolina, ringing my bell for you. Mary Ann, how are you?
Hi, Johnnette and Sue. I have a quick question. I was leaving Mass and benediction, walking out of church, and I felt like I was being pushed. There was nobody around me. I tripped. I fell into the bushes. And then recently I just talked to a friend who had fallen down the steps, and she said to me, have you ever felt like you'd been pushed? And it recalled, that memory came back to my mind, and how this girl who fell down the steps didn't break a bone or even die. She went down like 14 steps, still had her glasses on, but was able to get up without injury.
Wow.
So I wanted to ask Sue if she's ever heard of anything like this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
I've heard of it. I have had similar experiences myself personally, and I also know of people who have had these happen to them. In my case, it was a force pressing me down in bed at night while I was sleeping. It was like on my back and like forcing me down, face down into the pillow. And then it was a very dark moment. I write about it in my book, God Speaks to a Modern Girl, which is the story of my conversion. But yes, absolutely, I do hear it. It's a form of oppression. It is a manifestation of satanic activity. In my case, he was trying to prevent me from going to the Lord. He was trying to just telling me different things about committing suicide and stuff like that, and where to drive my car to a certain place and drive it off this particular quarry. That can be very, very unsettling and terrifying. And I remember when that was going on, I cried out to everybody. It was St. Joseph. It was St. Joseph who came to me. I was crying out, Jesus, Father, Mary. And then I said, St. Joseph. And all of a sudden, just behind my closed eyes, I just saw like a flash of brown wool.
Wow.
And all of a sudden it lifted off of me. All the terrible dark thoughts left me. And for a long time, I slept with a holy card of St. Joseph under my pillow. This is when I was first coming back to the Lord. So yes, absolutely. These things can happen to you. They are manifestations. They are a form of oppression. My suggestion to anybody who has that experience is just make sure that you're going to confession regularly. Stay in a state of grace and pray every single day. Never a day goes by without you praying and sitting there with the Lord one-on-one, praying to him and talking to him. No, just like repeat prayers. Talk to him every day and start to develop a relationship with the Lord. And as long as you stay in a state of grace, you're safe from that. At the time, I don't think I had returned yet to confession. Took me a while to do that when I was first starting to come back to church. It took me like 2 years to get myself back to confession. So anyway, needless to say, I did that shortly after that happened. I went back to confession.
Well, and I'm not at all surprised that St. Joseph helped you. And Marianne, he is a great intercessor. One of the titles that he has that the church has given him is Terror of Demons. And so he is very, very powerful in interceding against the demonic. So, look and see, and I know, Sue, that, you were involved in the occult for a period of time. And, oftentimes we don't realize how these demons really attach themselves to us. And by that, I mean, they're just in the atmosphere around us, that they hover around, and we've invited them there through the activity. But again, when they begin to see that there's any movement out of the realm of the dark, that's when they begin to manifest. I had something similar because I monkeyed around too in that stuff. And so I want to really encourage you, to look back into your history. Did you ever do any kind of, occult activity? It might have included a Ouija board at a pajama party. It could have been having your a horoscope read, or having your astrological chart done, or it could be that you had your palm read, or you visited a medium. at a state fair, or anything like that you might have even not thought about very much. If that's the case, then you want to begin to make certain that that's going to confession, that you're rejecting, renouncing, and repenting of that activity. And I also find it really interesting, too, that this happened after adoration and benediction. That's not surprising either, is it, Sue? Because that is a real statement of the direction that you're going in. And if he's got any kind of, even just like a little toehold anywhere in your history, he'll oftentimes start to act up. So just, you don't have to answer on the air here, Marianne, but I'm just asking you to make a serious examination of conscience with regard to things in the past. It doesn't mean that the sin hasn't been forgiven, but there are things that doors have to be closed, and there's ways that the church can offer us to close those doors, and it doesn't involve exorcism.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Sue and Johnnette. Very helpful.
Well, you're welcome, Marianne.
You.
Thank you very, very much. We have a text from Oscar out there, and he says, Longo's story is a powerful reminder that no one is beyond redemption. And it's important to mention that again and again, Sue, because his story is a great, great illustration of God's infinitude of mercy that he wants us to receive. So if you're listening today and there's been a sin that you have not confessed out of shame, or out of just a desire not to even acknowledge that it is a sin, haul yourself off to the sacrament. Be set free from all of that. Debbie in Monmouth County, New Jersey is with us. Oh, I don't know if she's a first-timer, but I'm ringing my bell anyway for you, Debbie. How are you today?
New Jersey is with us. Oh, I don't know if she's a first-timer, but I'm ringing my bell anyway.
Oh, well, we can hear me on the radio. Can you turn your radio down?
Oh, yeah, I just did because I wasn't sure. I used to work in media myself. I wasn't sure which one was taped, the one on the call waiting line or on domestic church media with the lovely Mr. and Mrs. Manfredonia. Thank you both, EWTN and the Manfredonias, for helping me become a better wife and mother.
Praise be to God. Mother Angelica really gave everything that she had to the Lord, and he's returned in what would I want to say? Not more than 1,000-fold.
Oh, I could go on and on and on, but Mother Angelica, when I was at St. John's University in New York, I would put Mother Angelica on and listen to her because she started back in the 1980s when I was a kid.
Oh, my goodness.
And now I'm
beautiful.
mom. So what I wanted to tell you, because I am a mom, and I think that you are talking about now St. Bartolo Longo. That's the live show, right, ladies?
Yes.
Okay. He was a third-order Dominican. And he met a Dominican who introduced him to the rosary. And because my two children went to Providence College in Rhode Island, and one of them was going to Rome to study abroad, and we were blessed to be able to go over as a family, I clicked on the Pius V website, and they had a little blurb, because the friars were always trying to reach everybody and teach, like the Franciscans and Jesuits. It was a blurb about Bartolo Longo, and it said, do you want to learn more about the Satanist who became a third-order Dominican who became a blessed? And I clicked on it and learned about the Basilica of the Most Holy Rosary of Pompeii in Naples, where he was from. And we were able to bring our family there and meet a Dominican sister who gave us prayer cards. And it was just wonderful. And I just wanted to share that because I learned so much from you and Sue over the years and continue to learn. And I relearned maybe, I don't know, Garibaldi hated the church and the Papal States. And I just learned so much from all of you, and I can't thank you enough.
Oh, Debbie, thank you so much. Yeah, we sure do appreciate you, and we appreciate all that you're doing for the church. And your children are quite blessed to have a mom who loves our Lord so very, very much. And I'm sure that you have been instilling that same love into their hearts. And what a beautiful thing. What a beautiful vocation. And what a great saint that we're honoring today. It's interesting, Sue, that we're honoring Bartolo Longo today on the feast of St. John Paul II. There's St. John Paul II was such a strong purveyor of truth, and spoke it boldly to a culture, Western civilization, that did not want to hear, but he wouldn't equivocate. And Bartolo is one who came back and would never equivocate again, and did so much to raise up so many people through his efforts in the faith. And that's the part that we often don't remember. You alluded to it earlier, Sue, in that he was a great humanitarian. I should say he was a great charitable man of God, but did all kinds of things for the indigent, tried to help kids who had been in trouble to learn a trade so that they would have a way of earning money, that they didn't have to steal and do miserable things to people. Just a tremendous man of God.
He really was, and I was surprised when I learned that he was nominated twice, in 1902 and in 1903, for the Nobel Peace Prize, because of the nature of his work and the extent of it. I mean, he really worked hard for the Lord. When he came back to Jesus all the way. Yeah. He held nothing back when he came back, all for love of Mary and the Rosary, which I just think is a beautiful story.
Yes, it is. And thank you, Debbie, for your call, and thank you for sharing that beautiful story with us. And yes, let's all thank God for Mother Angelica, who also has done so much for so many people in so many, many ways. Yeah, let's get to Ruth. Ruth is in Pennsylvania today, and I am eager to chit-chat with Ruth. She is with us via YouTube. This is our Ruth, I think. Am I right?
Yes. Hi.
Hi, Ruthie.
I see. I have to make an apology to you on the air. I saw that you called me the other day, and I haven't called you back, and I apologize for that. So I'm glad I'm talking now.
It happens. No problem. No problem at all. I just have a quick question, and if God allows it, God permitting, can the evil one attack you in your illness?
Good question, Ruth.
Oh, he, of course, can attack you in your illness, and he does that in many, many ways. And most frequently, it would be through despair, that you're never going to get better. It's always going to get worse. He can attack you that way. Whether or not he can cause the illness is a whole different thing. That is very unlikely that he can cause it. Although Father Fertia does say it does happen. And we have instances where that did happen. St. Teresa of Lisieux said that her illness that came over her, she believed that came from Satan. And in Scripture, I believe it's in St. Luke, that there was a woman who had this sickness, and she was possessed by a spirit of infirmity. I think I'm looking it up now, Luke 13:11 in there. But Father Fertia says that's very unusual. It's very extraordinary. He says normally, rain, snow, and hail fall from the sky, but occasionally a meteorite falls. That's the same as whether or not Satan can actually cause an illness. 99% of the time, that illness has a natural cause. But that's a good question, Ruthie. That's a good one. Yeah, because people do wonder that.
And the other thing that he does, Ruth, is that he will assail you when you're down. He takes advantage of our vulnerability, whether our vulnerability is something that's related to our physicality or whether it's something that's related to our mentality. He sees when we're low. He can't read our minds or any of that, but he's a very good observer. And so when we're low, when we're going through a time of difficulty and trial, we're more vulnerable, just period. And so he steps into that vulnerability, and he can create chaos. And he'll incite things into our head. Sue, you mentioned, you're never going to get better. But he'll also say, well, you deserve this. This is because of thus and such that you did in the past. Or he will tempt you with thoughts of despair, distrust, lack of trust in God. He'll work on that. He'll try to rob you of any hope that you have. But we know that whatever comes our way comes permissively through the will of God, not his perfect will, but his permissive will. And we know that he wants to work it for our good, not for our destruction. And you, I think, are a prime example of that, because I know that you are assailed by, some very, very unusual kinds of physical conditions and maladies. And you turn that all to profit. You turn it all to profit through your prayer, through your offering, through suffering in union with Jesus. And we at Women of Grace have been the happy recipients of the benefit of those kinds of prayers that you have prayed. And there is a joy, and I'm sure, Ruth, that you have experienced this. There's an interior joy. So I know that you know this. There's an interior joy when we are assailed by something that seems completely outside of our control, and often is, but that when we relinquish that to God, knowing and trusting that He works all things to the good, then we are filled with an inner gladness, and that inner gladness is joy. So if this is a question about your own situation, Ruth, you hang in there and I'll give you that call and we'll pray through this together. Well, friends, it's always great being with you, Sue. I love Wacky Wednesdays because I love you. So thanks so much for I know. I appreciate that so much. We just love being with all of you on Wednesdays, and I love being with you every other day of the week as well. So do give us a call tomorrow. I'm going to be back with you right here. What a great opportunity we have to use the airwaves for our Lord. Let's make good use of them together right here at Women of Grace Live. And happy feast day, St. John Paul II, and congratulations to you, St. Bartolo Longo. And I'll bet you they're having a good time up there in heaven together. God bless all of you now. Bye-bye.
This is Conversations with Consequences, where we delve deeper into issues affecting our church, our country, and our core, the family.
As Catholics, we need to be informed, aware, and able to talk through some of the tough topics that we're facing in our culture.